Hey, what's up guys? This is Chris from Step Massive, and we're out on another backpacking trip. We're here in Northern California. We're at Henry Coe State Park, which is the largest state park in Northern California. And we're out here doing a 3-day, 2-night trip. This is a little different than some of my other backpacking trips in that I am testing out a new hammock setup. It's gonna be the first time camping out in a hammock. I've always been a tent camper so far, but tonight, no tent, we're going all hammock. All right, so we're about 2 miles in, just reached a little peak up here. Got about 3.5 more miles to go. Doing a really easy day today, about 5.5 miles. Going up to what's known as Wilson Peak, and gonna see if I can find a good place to hang the hammock somewhere up there. And yeah, it's been awesome. Looking out over Henry Coe State Park. It's a beautiful day, great view up here. You can see down to the parking lot now. It looks like there's a few other cars, a few other people showing up today later in the morning. So I mentioned this is gonna be my first trip sleeping in a hammock system. I've slept in a hammock one time before. It was for a single night, and I had both a tent and a hammock. So I had the option of bailing out of the hammock into the tent if I didn't, if I wasn't able to get comfortable. So this trip, 2 nights, no tent, just a hammock. I've got a war bonnet traveler, and then I've got a war bonnet. I think it's the Superfly tarp. It's the bigger tarp with doors. And then I just got in the mail right before this trip my hammock gear 20-degree incubator full-length underquilt, and this will be my first time ever using an underquilt. I don't know for sure if I'm gonna be able to cut it in a hammock, and the purpose of this trip is to test myself, experiment with stuff, find what works, find what doesn't, make improvements, and ultimately just have a good time doing it out in the outdoors in the wilderness. I don't know if that looks as steep to you as it does to me, but that's a pretty steep grade going up that hill right now. But when you're doing it surrounded by views like this, a little climbing ain't no thing. So we made it to the top of Wilson Peak. The wind is definitely picked up at the top of the peak up here. All right, I think we got a spot here between this tree and this tree. My only concern is they might be a little too close together, but we're gonna throw up the tarp and the hammock real quick, see how it fits, and look at this view. Woo! if we can make some adjustments, but it's going to be cutting it close. There we go. We did it. All right, we got the hammock set up. We got the tarp set up. Got my tarp in some snake skins so I can keep it all rolled up and out of the way until I have the need to deploy it. So, you know, on a sunny day or something, or a day like today where it's supposed to be raining, but it's not raining yet, I can keep the tarp up and out of the way, and, you know, can still hang out in the hammock. Chill, relax, and then when we're ready, deploy this bad boy. All right, we have set up here between these two trees. They were just barely far enough apart to get everything set up. So I got the tarp just set up in a initial pitch. I'm gonna have to make some adjustments. But down under here, we've got the hammock and the underquilt. Everything's ready to go. I've got this tarp pitched in porch mode, where this front side is raised up so I can sit in the hammock and kind of see out and enjoy the nice views out there. And as you can see, the wind is picked up a bit as expected, and got to do some work to secure these door flaps so they're not flapping all over the place. Not sure if I'm going to actually set the doors down or just tie them out of the way. We've got to fix that, and then gonna head over and filter some water. We got a pond somewhere down there. We're gonna go get some water and then kind of start settling in for the night and start cooking some food because I'm hungry. Well, here we are. It's about 4 p.m. We got about 1 hour until sunset, and so far, no rain. The wind's been picking up a little bit. I just managed to catch some cell phone service and pulled a weather report. Sounds like in about 1 hour, right around sunset at 5 p.m., this place is going to start dumping rain, heavy rain, for like the next 12 to 14 hours straight, which will be all through the night. The good thing is, when the rain starts, the wind is supposed to actually die down. So it'll be wet, but hopefully not too windy. Well, good morning. It is day 2. Already packed up camp. Everything was pretty wet and didn't really want to get the camera out to try and record any of that stuff. So last night was a little bit rough, to be honest. It rained really heavily almost all night long with some pretty decent wind. I definitely had a few of my tarp stakes get blown out a few times during the night. Had to, climb out of the hammock, throw on the rain jacket, get out into the rain, and hook up some of the tarp stakes. One thing I was dealing with during the night is even when it would stop raining, it was just super misty and foggy everywhere around my campsite, and that mist was coming under the tarp through my sleeping area, and my underquilt got like decently wet during the night from that, and even my top quilt was starting to get wet as well. Ooh, got the sun coming out. Feels nice. Been enveloped in a thick mist and fog all morning. Cold. It feels nice to just feel that sun, even if just for a moment or two. Well, the sun popped out, so I decided to go ahead and pull out my wet stuff, see if I can get it to dry a little bit. Even got the hammock out. The hammock got a little bit wet last night as well, on my head end, just again from that mist coming through. Just trying to get everything dried out. Hopefully the sun will do a little number on this stuff, even if just for another 10 to 15 minutes. All right, so we have successfully dried out both the underquilt and the top quilt. Took about 15 minutes in the sun and they are good to go. Great success. All right, so we're back on the trail after a little pit stop. It was nice to get everything dry, filter some water, eat some food, kind of reset some items in my pack. And the sun's been out for about the last hour, which is really nice. I'm really glad I was able to dry out my stuff, especially my top quilt, my underquilt. Even got to dry out the hammock suspension, which will be nice. Will make it a little easier to set up the hammock tonight. And forecast calls for no rain from here on out. And no wind either, so tonight will be I think a lot easier. All right, so we found our campsite and we got the tarp set up. We got the front side of the tarp coming out wide, being supported by the 2 trekking poles, while the back side is pulled down rather tight in one half of what would be A-frame mode, just to give some protection and some privacy from the back end. All right, the hammock has been assembled. Underquilt installed. One thing I'm in the process of figuring out is figuring out how to organize all my stuff. You know, usually when you go tent camping, you know, you got a big tent, it's dry, there's a flat, dry floor, and you can just toss stuff in the tent, you know, as you need it. And in the hammock, you don't really have that luxury. So, you know, instead of tossing my stuff all in the dirt, I've got a piece of plastic. There it is. And then I'm also hanging stuff from my ridgeline. You can see my backpack there. I've got a few stuff sacks hanging from the ridgeline there, a few other things hanging there. You know, that keeps everything off the ground, still accessible, and yeah, just kind of learning how to organize stuff. You know, the sun's just setting right now. It's going to be dark soon, so I will bid you guys a good evening, and I'll see you in the morning.
Well, good morning. Made it through another night in the hammock. I've actually been sleeping really well in this thing. A lot better than sleeping in the tent so far. I mean, when I sleep in the tent, usually every like hour or two, my shoulder falls asleep or my arm falls asleep, and I got, you know, I'm constantly waking up and repositioning. But both nights in the hammock, I you know, maybe woke up 2 or 3 times during the night, readjusted, and right back to sleep. And yeah, it's been good. We got a nice foggy view out here today. Oh man, I had this dream that some day hikers walked up on my site in the early morning and like yelled at me because I wasn't supposed to be camping up here or something. It was weird.
Alright, we got everything broken down except for the tarp. Last thing to do is to break down the tarp and we will hit the trail. And it's a beautiful morning here at Henry Coe State Park with the fog and the mist amongst the trees. So we're all packed up and we are heading back on the trail. It's been a good trip. Definitely learned a lot. It's been informative. Figured out a few things that worked, a few things that didn't work with the hammock setup. And man, it's foggy. I don't even know if you guys can see me. I'm like fading away into the darkness. Foggy morning at Henry Coe State Park. The big one. Just a couple of deer out making some creek crossings along with myself. I actually saw a pack of wild boars last night, right before sunset, as I was hiking up to camp. There was a good, 8 to 10 boars up on the hillside. They saw me. They were, most of them were kind of running away from me, but a few of them were kind of standing their ground and making some big grunting sounds. And I heard that there was wild boars out here at Henry Coe State Park, but I've never seen them before, so that was pretty cool. I've been doing a lot of creek crossings on this final stretch back to the parking lot. Luckily, it's on the way back instead of like the first day. As I make what looks to be my final creek crossing, got the parking lot up ahead, and we are going to close out another great trip, Henry Coe State Park.